So let's talk about this full moon in Leo and how it is taking place at the perfect time. Hello, beautiful people. Life can be a challenge, but at least we have each other. Yes, this full moon in Leo energy begins on February 12th or February 13th, depending on where you live, and it couldn't be taking place at a better time because it is bringing an opportunity for an overall energetic reset, which we could absolutely all use right now with the way that 2025 has started off. Even though we knew 2025 was going to be an intense year because it's a 9-universal year, this has still been quite the ride so far. But don't worry, I've got your back. In the first part of this video, I'm going to go over the 3 things everyone should know about this full moon. Then I will go over how it will affect your individual sign. Okay, no more wasting time. Let's go. The full moon in Leo takes place on Wednesday, February 12th at 1:53 p.m. Universal Time, which by the way is the same as GMT, Princess Gemini, 5:53 a.m. Pacific Time, 8:53 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for those of you that live in the Southern Hemisphere, this will be 12:53 a.m. on February 13th in Sydney, Australia, and 3:53 p.m. on February 12th in Johannesburg, South Africa. So let's jump right into the 3 things you need to know in order to make the most of this energetic opening. Number 1, this full moon will bring the powerful energy of the number 3, the number 4, and the magical tarot energy of the Strength card. For those of you that live where the full moon takes place on the 12th, or if you keep seeing the number 3, it is a sign to embrace creativity, self-expression, and balance in your life. Which I love because this is exactly what Leo energy represents. So you can really see how the universe is in this harmonious flow, bringing you these energies and giving you these messages in a very systematic way. The universe is nudging you to trust your voice, to nurture your talents, and surround yourself with uplifting people and energy, but also to balance your mind, body, and spirit so that way you don't burn out. Take this as a reminder to speak your truth and lean into joy by reminding yourself to have a good time when you can and stay open to new possibilities, because when you align with your authentic self, opportunities do flow much more effortlessly. Now, if you live where the full moon takes place on the 13th, or if you keep seeing the number 4, either the week leading up to, during, or the 2 weeks following the full moon, this is a sign to focus on stability, discipline, and building a strong foundation in your life. The universe is reminding you that consistency and hard work will pay off, but only if you stay grounded and you trust the process. This is a time to get organized, to set clear goals, and to create structures that support your long-term success, whether it's in your career or in your relationships or just your personal growth. Keep showing up, stay patient. And I know with all this craziness going on in the world that can be very difficult because it can be distracting and disheartening, the stuff that's going on. But remember, you have a choice where you put your focus. And though it does take effort, this effort that you put in now is laying the groundwork for something solid and lasting. Now, the Strength Tarot card is a message to trust in your inner power and your resilience, and trust your patience. True strength isn't about force, it's about grace under pressure. It's about mastering your emotions and leading with courage and compassion. With this Strength card, the universe is reminding you that your greatest power comes from staying calm in the face of challenges. It comes from believing in yourself and approaching life with steady confidence. Whether you're overcoming obstacles or stepping into a new phase of life, this card encourages you to embrace your inner lion, but guide it with love, not fear. Do not make decisions out of fear. Make decisions out of loving yourself and knowing what's best for you. Number 2, this full moon will be forming a positive aspect with Venus in Aries, a positive aspect with Jupiter in Gemini, a challenging aspect with Uranus retrograde in Taurus, and a challenging aspect with Pluto in Aquarius. So the relationship this full moon is forming with Venus, the planet of love and money, is making this an excellent time for relationships and connection. This is romantic relationships and otherwise. So use this time to have fun. Use it to also get out and date, especially before Venus goes retrograde on March 1st. You want to start relationships now if you're going to start one. And if you've been having challenges in your relationships, this is a good time to address those issues with a likelihood for a positive outcome. And remember, sometimes a positive outcome does mean the ending of the relationship if the relationship has run its course and it's not in your soul's best interest. And especially if you know you have communicated and you have done all that you can do to resolve any issues. Now, the relationship with Venus is also great for financial gain, which is especially good news given the state of the world. So any financial endeavors are likely to have a positive momentum during this time. This also goes hand in hand with the moon's relationship with Jupiter, the planet of expansion, growth, and prosperity, because this too will open up a nice portal to good fortune coming your way. So regarding anything that you've been working on or working towards, you should see some positive momentum and overall likelihood of things being on the more favorable side when it comes to outcomes. But unfortunately, this full moon is not all great relationships, achieving goals, and money falling from the sky. We do have the moon's relationship with Uranus, the planet of awakenings and change, which will be retrograde, indicating that you might have some unexpected event or some unexpected bad news come your way. And if by chance this happens, number one, know that there are other planetary energies working for you to help balance this energy out, but also know in the big picture, the universe is always working for you. If something like this does show up, just think somehow this is in my soul's best interest. And it's just an opportunity to find out how. So be adaptable and think of solutions. And if something brings on grief or sadness, allow yourself to feel those things and know that the experience is part of your soul's path and your soul's growth. And it may bring a new understanding about yourself and life that at some point can prove to be very useful. And the moon's relationship with Pluto, the planet of transformation, destruction, and renewal, that will be tricky as well because it will increase the likelihood of buried emotions coming to the surface regarding relationships. And it will be difficult to not let those emotions override what you know is best for you. So honor your feelings for sure, and even trust those feelings, but do not react from a place of feeling. Use your feelings as a window into what you need in order to feel better, and then begin to communicate from that space in order to resolve the situation. So respond from the place of finding a solution and rebuilding connection as opposed to reacting. Do that and you should be just fine. Number 3, this full moon in Leo is a snow moon and the first full moon following the Lunar New Year. So this is a major energetic reset. It is a time to recognize your worth and give yourself the grace to set aside moments for inner reflection and emotional healing. 2025 has had a very intense start, and it is important to recharge your mental and spiritual battery. This full moon is urging you to recognize success isn't just about chasing goals, it's about finding joy in the moment while you do so. So before we go into the portion of how this full moon will affect your individual sign, I want to share with you the theme for this full moon in Leo that I came up with when working on this video. The theme is life is but a dream, meaning with this Leo moon, you're being invited to step away from the matrix of everyday limitations. Step away from the illusion and view your reality from a place of infinite possibility. View it as a dream where anything is possible. By having this perspective, you will really be able to tap into that full moon in Leo energy of creativity, of bold self-expression, and engaging your inner child's boundless curiosity to reshape your life in a way that feels truly authentic and free. Keep this theme in mind as you watch the section about how this full moon in Leo will affect your individual sign. Okay, my powerful Aries, this full moon energy is going to be in your 5th house. So this is going to be a very important full moon for you, Aries. This year has had quite the start, and if you are feeling like most of the world, I am sure it has been a bit difficult. Luckily for you, this full moon in Leo is a spiritual reset. And for you, this reset is really focused on awakening within the dream. Think of the matrix and what life will be like if you are the observer. It's just like when you're dreaming, the dream seems very real, but when you wake up, you realize it was just a dream. So what if within the dream, you can observe as though you are awake, realizing that you have the power to create where it goes next. This full moon in Leo is your opportunity to remind yourself that you have the power of where your life goes next. The way to express that power is by asking yourself, if you knew that you were dreaming right now, what would you do differently? This full moon in Leo is a time where you can reset the game and start from the perspective of the observer, now having the power to choose your next adventure. With this being the case, what would you try? This full moon illuminating your 5th house is reminding you that life is meant to be enjoyed and life is truly what you make it. This is an excellent time to journal to see what you have going on inside that can inspire your next steps. This is also an excellent time to take some risks, Aries. Allow your inner child to explore life, but with your adult intellect. This combination can really be incredible for you. As we know, full moons are also about closure and endings to make way for new beginnings. So it is time to ask yourself, what definitions about life or about yourself have you allowed to form in your subconscious that may now be running the show? Release the definitions and beliefs that you know are not working for you, and use this time to redefine and have experiences that are born from your excitement. This will help to create new beliefs, which will turn into new realities. Now, the fifth house also relates to romance and relationships. So if you are in a relationship that has been having challenges, this will be a time to resolve those issues. And if they aren't resolved, this may be a time where the relationship comes to an end. Now, this also could be a time where if you are in the process of manifesting love, that some new love shows up for you. Venus did just shift into Aries as well. Now, if you are a parent, this full moon indicates a meaningful experience with your kid or with your kids. And if you're in a relationship and the two of you have been working to conceive, this full moon indicates getting some news regarding having a child. So overall, Aries, this is a time truly to hit the reset button, make the choice to have fun in your life, close the door on negative energy, and take your power back by being the observer of your life, the creator, the person who is playing the game and doing so with excitement. Do this and watch your reality begin to shift, and this is the perfect time to do so because we have one more season before your season, which will be the start of the astrological year. So getting some momentum going now beforehand can be right on time. So embrace this energetic opening, and happy full moon, Aries. Okay, my powerful Taurus, this full moon energy is going to be in your fourth house, which brings a spotlight to your foundations, to your home life, to your sense of security, and those deep emotional roots that shape who you are. During this full moon, meaning the week leading up to, during the actual full moon itself, and then the 2 weeks following, that energetic opening is urging you to consider stepping outside of the everyday matrix, the illusion that tells you life must be approached through obligation or through fear. I'm giving each sign this challenge. I'm asking each sign, what if life were more like a dream you actively participate in, something you can sculpt with your vision and your intention? This perspective invites you to reimagine what your home and your security truly mean to you, because this is in your fourth house. Rather than clinging to old stories about what your family or your upbringing or living situation should be or how it has affected you up until this point, dare to see it all as a dream that you have the power to now direct. If an outdated belief holds you back, like thinking you can't change a family dynamic or you're stuck with a certain living situation or agreement, now's the time to question it. In the same way you might tweak details in a dream, you can shift the details of your real life environment. And this fourth house energy is just the time to do so. The ways in which you can do so are by creating a sacred space for yourself. Rearrange a room or set up a cozy little corner in your home that reflects your evolving sense of security. Fill it with things that inspire you, like certain plants or art or comforting scenes. This visual shift can remind you that you're free to redefine your reality. It also will stamp your present moment with the newness of how you're deciding to see your life. Now, when it comes to the influence of family experiences and how they've affected you, a practical way to make a shift in this area is to journal each day about how family patterns or childhood beliefs still influence you. Ask yourself, if this were a dream and you realized it was a dream, how in the moment would you transform this storyline into something more supportive? Let your imagination lead you to new perspectives. Leo is the sign of creativity and fun, and the way to use this full moon to your advantage is by using your creativity while having fun making these changes. The fourth house invites you to process your feelings tied to home and family. Consider expressing them creatively through writing or simply talking to somebody that you trust. Acknowledging these emotions help you to release past narratives, and it opens up more fulfilling possibilities. Now, this full moon and this time of year is meant to be a spiritual reset, Taurus, and by seeing life as a dream, one you can co-create with the universe, you'll find a new kind of comfort and stability. Rather than being weighed down by the rules and expectations that you have bought into, you'll cultivate your inner security, knowing you can shift your circumstances from the inside out, which is very exciting, Taurus. So embrace this energetic opening, and happy full moon, Taurus. Okay, my powerful Geminis, this full moon energy is going to be in your third house. Now, because the theme of this full moon is life is but a dream, I'm asking each sign this question and asking them to answer it in a way that pertains to how it relates to the house that this full moon is transiting through. So The question is based on this idea. Imagine for a moment that life is just like a dream. And like when you are dreaming and you realize that you're in that dream, you can then start deciding what the next step is. And that's called lucid dreaming when that happens. And that's when you start playing a bigger part in creating the dream. Now, this does take practice, but it is possible. And in life, we can also practice having that same type of awareness where you realize that you are in the matrix. And with that realization, you are the observer of your avatar. And you can then have more of a say in where you go next. And this full moon in Leo is bringing the energetic opening for that sort of reset of perception. And for you, Gemini, because this full moon is in your third house, the way to maximize this shift in perception is to imagine for a moment that life is a dream and one you actively shape with your words and your thoughts and your daily interactions. By seeing your environment and conversations through this lens, you're going to realize that you are not stuck in someone else's story. You can rewrite your own. Start paying close attention to the words that you use, both out loud and in your head. Replace any I can't or I'm stuck or this sucks. Replace those type of statements with language that opens up possibilities, such as I'm exploring new ways, or I'm learning how to, or this challenge is meant to bring me new ideas and new understandings. This simple shift can help you break free from the matrix of limiting thoughts. Now, the third house also relates to your immediate environment and your community. So treat your daily surroundings like a canvas for new experiences. Explore a different cafe or have conversations with neighbors that you've never spoken to, or take a short trip to spark fresh inspiration. This helps you see that even the familiar world around you is full of potential that you can mold, just like a dream. Each morning or evening, jot down any reoccurring themes, any reoccurring ideas or conversations that you notice throughout your day. Then ask yourself, if I were dreaming, how would I transform this scenario to feel more aligned and more joyful and more authentic? This question trains your mind to look beyond the obvious and envision more fulfilling possibilities. By weaving these practices into your daily routine, you're going to start to see your life as a story that you can continually revise, a dream that you can continually direct with curiosity and imagination. And this full moon in Leo is just the opening to make this shift. Don't be surprised if you have an opportunity to confront someone to resolve a long-standing issue. Now, if and when this comes up, remind yourself that your words and how you approach the situation will have everything to do with the outcome. Have the intention of a solution and resolution as opposed to point proving or blame, and things will run much more smoothly. So overall, Gemini, this full moon is going to be an incredible opportunity to take one of your main gifts, your mental clarity and creativity, and show yourself how you can express these things through your words and actions, and then gain a whole new understanding of how you can use your gifts to create a life that is more fulfilling, even in the midst of all this craziness that is going on in the world right now, which is very exciting. So embrace this energetic opening, and happy full moon, Gemini. Okay, my powerful Cancerians, this full moon energy is going to be in your second house. And remember, the theme is life is but a dream. So because this full moon is in your second house, this is that time of year to rethink and restructure your relationship with your self-worth, with money or finances, and with your personal values. The matrix will tell you or have you think that your sense of security is defined by external markers. But what if life was more like a dream and you can consciously shape that dream? Like lucid dreaming. You know, when you're dreaming and you realize that you're in a dream, it's at that moment that you can become the observer and you can start to choose what happens next. Lucid dreaming takes practice, but it's definitely possible. So what if this life we are living is the exact same way? What if it's just like a dream? And if we become the observers and we observe ourselves as the avatar within the dream or in this game of life, and from that perspective, view your resources and your personal value through that lens, because if you do that, then you free yourself to rewrite any limiting beliefs about what you deserve and how you can thrive. So for the days leading up to this full moon, and then during the full moon and for the 2 weeks following, because that's the energetic opening of this full moon, it will be so beneficial for you to sit down with yourself and write down what true abundance and self-worth look like to you. How would you be behaving differently than you have been behaving if you were already living within that world where self-worth and true abundance are taking place and the way that you see them? How would you approach relationships and challenges and even the activities of each day differently if you were stepping into these situations and interactions with that perspective and that mindset of being within the existence of truly valuing yourself and truly having the abundance that you know you deserve and that you know you can thrive in, that brings you full freedom and security. Only giving energy to the things that fit within that sort of existence. A way to remain in that energetic realm of perception is by writing down 1 or 2 mantras that reflect this new existence. Something like, isn't it wonderful to be worthy of and living in abundance in all forms? Now, when it comes to how you spend money and how you think of money, ask yourself, if I were in a dream and I knew I was in that dream, how would I flow resources in a way that truly support my values and my belief system? Remember, stepping out of the matrix means challenging old stories, what you can or cannot have, or what stands in your way. Bring awareness to each day to how you are approaching your relationships. Bring that awareness to how you are approaching the way that you're communicating with people. Ask yourself, if you were watching yourself as a character interacting in these ways within a dream, how would you change that behavior to match what is best for that character to make sure they are experiencing joy and happiness? Leo is the sign of creativity. It's the sign of self-expression, and it connects us to our inner child. So this full moon in Leo is an excellent time to make a major shift from the inside out and tap into your gifts as the creator in and of your own life. Connecting to your inner child and giving that inner child the power to now create what they have always known they want. Living life based on how that inner child truly feels without the illusion that society and certain life experiences have created. We are still at the start of the year. The astrological year doesn't begin until the end of March. So how great will it be to be in this empowered flow of you seeing life as a dream? And I'm not saying be delusional, but understanding that if you approach life as the observer and you maintain a separation between your spiritual perspective, which is the observer, and the physical illusion, the ego's understanding, if you maintain that separation, you can start really ordering your life through the choices of your spirit, and your ego or your mind-dominated self is now having those spiritually directed experiences. This way you can guarantee that your experiences are in your soul's best interest and from the most powerful position possible. In this way, you will truly be co-creating with the universe. Let me know what you guys think about this, Cancers, and how it works for you when you start applying it. It is a time to make an exciting shift and take your power back. So embrace this energetic opening and happy full moon, Cancers. Okay, my powerful Leos, this full moon energy is gonna be in your first house. So Leos, this full moon for you is gonna feel pretty extreme. And the reason why I'm saying this is because you know during Aquarius season, your Leo energy gets diminished a bit. So more than likely, you have been feeling a bit off, and not necessarily off in a negative way. How Aquarius season affects your chart will have so much to do with what the other signs in your chart are, especially the other signs in your big three. So Aquarius season may have been much more challenging for some of you Leos out there, or some of you might be feeling better in some ways. But the reason I'm saying all of this is to explain the fact that you have been without your usual Leo energy up until this point. But when this full moon comes along, you will feel a surge of that fiery Leo energy coming back, which can feel extreme. And maybe in some ways it's gonna feel extremely good. Leo's a big energy, so when it comes up, it has a big effect. The good news is it will be bringing an opportunity for a major change in your perspective. And for you, because this is in your first house, this change in perspective is most significant because it will be less about how you see the world and so much more about how you see yourself. More than likely, you've already been feeling a shift this year in your perspective since January when we made the shift from 2024 to 2025. And you've been having experiences that have really opened your eyes. And much of the time, when our eyes are opened, it can really bring more clarity, but it can also bring more questions. Well, think of this full moon as bringing a very big message that is answering any questions that you have regarding who you are at this point in your life. This full moon is sharing with you that your power will come in realizing that you are the observer. Look at it like this. When you're dreaming and you don't realize you're dreaming, you get caught up in that dream. It takes you on this emotional roller coaster and everything seems so real. But when you are dreaming and then you realize that you're within a dream, you then become the observer. and you don't get as wrapped up in the emotional roller coaster. And once you realize you're dreaming, you also realize that you can now begin to decide where the dream goes next. And you realize that you are in control. And what Leo energy doesn't like being in control. You are the one creating the dream. This full moon in Leo is reminding you that life is like a dream. The moment you take on the observer role and you begin to decide what you want to see next, where the dream will go next, you then truly tap into that Leo power of creative expression, of confidence, of childlike curiosity, of excitement, and you really begin to see life and enjoy life in a whole new way. So although there is a lot of crazy madness going on right now in this world, this is an exciting full moon for you to remember that the power of creation is within you when it comes to who you are and where your life goes next. And yes, there are things obviously completely outside of our control. But when you take control of the things that you can, then you truly are co-creating with the universe. You truly can let go of the past. You truly can live in the moment. So this full moon in Leo is the absolute best time and energetic opening for you to be able to embrace that idea and then apply that to your life. So embrace this energetic opening and happy full moon Leos. Okay, my powerful Virgos, this full moon energy is going to be in your 12th house. So Virgo, it is time for you to give yourself the permission to step back from the day-to-day chaos and the mental noise of life and allow yourself to see life a bit differently. You are a doer. You like to have goals and you like to have a plan and a way to achieve those goals, which is fantastic. And it actually works really well for you. However, you also have a tendency to carry a lot of stress because of the standards that you hold yourself to, which is very admirable, but also dangerous because it can heighten the likelihood that stress can manifest physically. Now, this full moon in Leo is special because it is the first full moon following the Lunar New Year, and because it is in Leo and it is in your 12th house, it's bringing you an opening to see the world in a new light, Virgo. The theme of this Leo moon is life is but a dream, and the 12th house is the house of the subconscious mind and dreams and secrets. So it will be important during this time for you to take any conflicts or frustrations or emotions that come up for you and look at these things as a window into your subconscious programming. Remembering that your subconscious programming is at the root of your behavior because it's where all your belief systems reside. Now, if any change is desired, then that subconscious programming is where the change begins. And the 12th house is the most powerful time of year to connect to your subconscious. Now, I'm giving each sign the challenge of looking at life as though it is a dream. Meaning, when you are dreaming and you realize that you're dreaming, at that moment is when you become the observer. And when you're the observer, you aren't caught up in the madness. Instead, you realize that you have the power to shape your decisions as the observer and where the dream goes next. Now, when you take this perspective in your life, you can detach from limiting beliefs. You can release unproductive emotional patterns and open up fresh possibilities for yourself. So during this full moon, if you feel yourself getting emotionally caught up in a situation, take a breath and ask yourself, if this were a dream right now and I was observing myself in this situation, what would I shift? What would I change to create the next step to be something that's in my soul's best interest? Where would I choose the dream to go next? What would I tell myself to get through this? The answers to those questions will be the new programming for your subconscious. It could be a really beneficial practice for you Virgos out there to take a piece of paper and write down any limiting beliefs that you know you have currently in your life, and then safely burn or discard those papers, committing to no longer allowing those beliefs to have any control over you. When you see life as a dream, you realize you are in control. This will take some practice and consistency, but it is possible, and there's no sign more capable of consistency and practice when it comes to achieving a goal than you, Virgo. So overall, this full moon is about you making a major shift in your perspective, Virgo. A change in understanding in terms of life and how to be at your most powerful by treating your inner world like a dynamic, ever-evolving dream where you acknowledge that you are the creator of your story. Trust your intuition. It will be very strong during this full moon, and allow your hidden magic to guide you toward a more fulfilling life, one in which practicality and imagination can work in harmony. So embrace this energetic opening, and happy full moon, Virgos. Okay, my powerful Libras, this full moon energy is going to be in your 11th house. And remember, the theme of this full moon in Leo is life is but a dream. And this full moon is here to remind you of just how powerful and creative you are, Libra. I am giving each sign the challenge of embracing the energy of this full moon by imagining that life is like a dream. And by this, I mean that when you are dreaming and you realize that you're in a dream, it's at that moment that you become the observer. And you detach from the emotional roller coaster that you may have just been on when you didn't realize you were dreaming, when the dream seemed so real. At that moment that you realize you're dreaming, you instantly become more present. And then you're able to make decisions about where the dream goes next. Now, when we do that in a dream, it's called lucid dreaming. And it takes some practice, but it is possible. So how about you approach this full moon from the perspective of lucid living, where you treat day-to-day life much like a dream in which you can become fully aware or lucid. The idea is similar to lucid dreaming, where you realize you're dreaming and you can then influence the dream. And when you do this in your life this way, also because this is in your 11th house, you can be the observer in your life each day. And with that sense of presence, you can shape your visions and disengage from limiting beliefs. You can watch yourself in each moment and ask yourself, if you were seeing this in a dream and you could decide what happens next, what would that be? The 11th house will inspire you to approach friendships and groups and activities as opportunities to co-create. You do this by surrounding yourself with people who support your goals and who spark your imagination, much like characters in your dream that affirm and elevate your highest potential. When you walk into situations with this perspective, you will be much more likely to attract these sort of people and this sort of energy. Another practice to utilize this energy is write down your hopes and wishes for the future. And then ask yourself, if this were a dream, how would it look? How would it feel? How would it unfold? What step would I take to live in this reality? This question shifts you from a mindset of limitation to one of possibility. If you're part of any team or community, propose a shared project or events that resonate with your new vision. Let your creative Libra flair come through. Balance input from others with your own unique contributions. We're still at the start of the year, and this year, for some reason, at least to me, it seems to be going by a bit more slowly. And that could be a very positive thing. And yes, I do recognize that this year has also been way more dramatic than usual, but this shift in time is giving you more time to bring awareness to how you're living, to your perspective, giving you the opportunity to shift to a perspective that brings you more comfort and more peace, because it will be a perspective of the observer where you do have a say in where your life experience goes next. Leo is the sign of self-expression and creativity, and it's the sign of confidence and connecting to the excitement and curiosity of your inner child. It's also the sign of romance. All things that inspire you, Libra, and bring out your best. So this full moon is going to be a fantastic one for you, especially if you use this time to remind yourself that life is like a dream and you do have the power to create what it is that you desire. You just have to shift your perspective to the observer and keep that awareness consistent. Do that, and this can be a major turning point in the year for you, setting the tone for some fantastic momentum moving forward. So embrace this energetic opening, and happy full moon, Libra. Okay, my powerful Scorpios, this full moon energy is going to be in your 10th house. And it is time, Scorpio, time to step outside of the matrix, of what society tells you success should look like. This full moon in Leo is urging you to imagine that life is a dream, one in which you can consciously shape that dream. Think of it this way: when we're dreaming, the moment that we realize that we're in that dream, that's the moment that we become the observer. And you can then detach from any emotional drama and limiting beliefs, and then you can begin to choose where the dream goes next. Now, when you do this in your life and you see your life as a dream and you become the observer, at that moment, you're no longer bound by rigid expectations or past stories about your public image or your professional trajectory. Instead, you reclaim the power to craft a life that aligns with your deepest passions. So in the days leading up to, during, and for the 2 weeks following the full moon, that energetic opening is going to be a time for you to reinvent your definition of success. Write down what you truly want to achieve from your heart. not from external pressures. Ask yourself, if this were your dream, how would you see yourself succeeding and contributing to the world? I personally don't really love vision boards because it's too much work to put those together, but this full moon could actually be a great time to make one. But if you're like me and you don't love vision boards, you can still gather images or phrases that represent your ideal career path and your ideal lifestyle or environment and place these things somewhere visible to remind you that you can shape your own reality. You can put them on your computer, you can put some on your phone, anywhere you can consistently check and see them and feel the emotion and excitement of how when you look at these things, you can connect with that elevated energy. It will also be very useful to do what I like to call confidence rituals during this full moon energy. Before any important task or meeting, take a moment to visualize stepping into your dream self. Embody the qualities and the confidence and passion and creativity that make your professional goals feel alive, where you are very excited about the experience you're about to have. Remember, Scorpio, the more you detach from the old scripts and see life as something you can edit and evolve, the more fulfilling and authentic your path will become. Now, full moons can also represent endings. So this could be that this is an ending of a certain chapter in terms of your way of thinking, but it could also mean that a job may be coming to an end. And if this is the case, even though this can be challenging, just know that this is the universe's way of assisting you when it comes to getting you on the right path. It could also mean that the search for the right job is over and you find exactly what you've been looking for. This also may indicate that you may be asked to take on more responsibility at your job. However this manifests for you, Scorpio, just know this is an opportunity to get on the right path, on your soul's path, with the right perspective. The perspective of the observer who can create their next steps and the reality that they desire. Let this full moon in Leo inspire you to shine in your chosen profession, knowing you have every right and capability to lead, to create, and to succeed on your own terms, which is very exciting. So embrace this energetic opening and happy full moon, Scorpio. Okay, my powerful Sagittarians, this full moon energy is going to be in your 9th house. So Sagittarius, game on. This is your full moon. And I say this because the full moon is in the 9th house and Sagittarius is the ruler of the 9th house. So this full moon is bound to bring something good your way. Now I'm sharing with each sign the theme of this full moon in Leo, which is life is but a dream. And I'm also sharing with each sign how they can use this theme and apply it to the house that the full moon is transiting through in order to utilize this energetic opening in the most effective way possible. Now, in the same way that when we are dreaming, if we realize that we are dreaming while that dream is taking place, it's at that moment, that realization, that we become the observer. And when we become the observer, we can then also begin to decide where the dream goes next. And this is called lucid dreaming. And it does take some practice, but it's definitely possible. Well, we can also do this in our everyday life. And this full moon in Leo is the opening, showing us that if we embrace this perspective, that life is a dream, and we can awaken within this dream by becoming the observer of our own life, then we can begin to truly co-create with the universe. Now, you as a Sagittarian are one of the signs that naturally do this, but you are human, so you have things that pull you out of this observer perspective. However, you do have an edge when it comes to this way of thinking, which will only make this practice more natural for you to implement. So because this full moon is in your 9th house, your natural longing for adventure and knowledge is going to be amplified, inviting you to break free from the matrix of limiting beliefs and routines. So by seeing your life path as the observer within this dream we call life, you'll recognize that borders, both physical and mental, are far more flexible than the world often tells us. Then what you do with this information is for the days leading up to the full moon, during the full moon, and for the 2 weeks following the full moon, which is the energetic opening of this full moon. It will greatly benefit you, Sagittarius, if you dive into a new philosophy, a new spiritual practice, or expand the one that you have. Maybe plan a trip that opens up your mind and challenges your comfort zone. Act as if life is a dream and your playground where you can dissolve the illusion of the word impossible. Whether it's reading about a culture that you've never encountered or trying a fresh hobby, approach each day with the spirit of discovery. This keeps you tapped into this adventurous Sagittarian fire of yours. Now, if you're into journaling, this can also be a great practice. Journal about a situation in your life that feels restrictive or constrictive. Ask yourself, if this were a dream, how would I reshape it for the highest outcome. Allow your imagination to guide you toward new solutions that you might have never otherwise considered. These practices will break open a new realm of perspective and ability for you to manifest your desire, Sagittarius. Now, this ninth house also indicates a wave of good luck. So if you do take any risks, the likelihood of a positive outcome is heightened. Overall, Sagittarius, this full moon is much less about one material thing taking place and so much more about a shift in spiritual understanding. It's an opportunity to release the story that you're stuck in someone else's script. It's a time to reclaim your role as both the dreamer and the doer. Let this full moon remind you that the world is vast and full of possibilities, and that you have every right to seek, to learn, and to explore without limits, while having the power to manifest into existence your every desire. So embrace this energetic opening, and happy full moon, Sagittarius. Okay, my powerful Capricorns, this full moon energy is going to be in your 8th house. So Capricorns, because the theme of this full moon is life is but a dream, I am challenging each sign to use this full moon to shift perspective, because this shift in perspective is going to guarantee results in terms of bringing you more optimism and bringing you more strength when it comes to manifesting the things that you desire into reality. Now, in the same way that when we are dreaming, if we realize we are dreaming while we're within that dream, it is at that moment that we become the observer. And when we become the observer, we can then also begin to decide where the dream goes next. This is called lucid dreaming, and it does take some practice, but it is possible. Well, we can also do this in our everyday life, and this full moon in Leo is the opening, showing us that if we embrace this perspective, that life is just a dream, and we can awaken within this dream by becoming the observer of our own life. It's at that moment that we will begin to truly co-create with the universe. And because this full moon will transit your 8th house, this for you will then be a time to reclaim your power when it comes to shared resources, which basically refers to anything that you jointly own with someone. It's also a time to reclaim your power when it comes to intimacy within your relationships, and when it comes to self-mastery. So during the days leading up to, the day of, and the 2 weeks following the full moon, there will be an energetic opening to create the reality that you desire in your life, and especially in the areas of your life that I just mentioned. And the way to do this is by seeing life as a dream that you can rewrite at will. With this perspective, you won't be bound by external pressures or past patterns. Instead, you will become the conscious creator of your own story. Now, the way to do this is by first picking something like a bad habit or an outdated way of thinking, something about yourself that you know you want to transform. And once you choose what this is, think of seeing yourself in this dream, the game of life, and ask yourself, if life is a dream and I'm observing myself right now, how can I reshape these actions or limiting beliefs into new actions and habits that serve my higher self, and supportive beliefs that lend to me creating the reality that I deserve? So whatever comes up for you during this time period, or whatever's still lingering from the past, whether it be issues with a relationship, when it comes to finances in that relationship, or even opportunities that come up regarding any shared project, or just any challenging experience overall, when the experience comes up, bring this awareness of the observer to that situation and say to yourself, within this dream, what is my next step? What choices can I make in order to have things unfold in the way that I would like them to unfold? And then take those steps. Stepping out of the matrix and becoming the observer means realizing that you have more control over your life than you ever imagined, which allows you to live more boldly and more freely. Not being attached to the outcome, trusting that you are co-creating with the universe, and separating yourself from being overwhelmed or overtaken by the madness of the matrix. So overall, Capricorns, this full moon is about the opportunity to change perspective. It's a time for a spiritual upgrade where you step into a perception that releases you from the chaos of the world, where you can play the game of life from the perspective of a co-creator, as opposed to a passive bystander, which is very exciting. So embrace this energetic opening, and happy full moon, Capricorns. Okay, my powerful Aquarians, this full moon energy is going to be in your 7th house. Now, because the theme of this full moon is life is but a dream, I am challenging each sign to step outside of the matrix and use this full moon energy to shift perspective in a way that will put you in the position to more effectively create the life that you desire. Here's how. In the same way that when we are dreaming, if we realize we are dreaming while we're within that dream, It is at that moment that we then become the observer. And when we become the observer, we can then also begin to decide where the dream goes next. This is called lucid dreaming, and it does take some practice, but it is possible. Well, we can actually do this in our everyday life, and this full moon in Leo is an opening showing us that if we embrace this perspective that life is a dream, and we awaken within this dream by becoming the observer of our own life, we then begin to truly co-create with the universe, and this 7th house transit is inviting you, Aquarius, to step away from the matrix of traditional relationship scripts and see life and love as a living dream that you can actively shape. And now I know as an Aquarian, you don't really do anything traditionally. And I also know that this is your season and you are meant to be focused on you, and you should. And I hope your rebirth season has been a fantastic one for you. But this full moon in Leo is a major opportunity to enhance your ability not only to have more fulfilling relationships, but to also manifest the relationship that you desire, if you desire one. And by looking at life as a dream where you are the observer, rather than conforming to what the matrix will have you think your connections should look like, you will be able to embrace the possibility of co-creating fulfilling relationships in a way that honors your natural independence and your natural originality. The way you do this is by asking yourself, if this were a dream and you were observing yourself as the character in that dream, how would you design your ideal partnership dynamic? You might discover unconventional ways of supporting you and your significant other in a more authentic and liberating way. Also observe where you might be acting out of habit or obligation rather than genuine desire. Journaling, if you're into that, can be a really helpful tool when it comes to helping you clarify which patterns that you have that belong in the matrix and which serve you and your personal growth. Share your dreams and goals and visions openly with loved ones. By letting them in on your evolving perspective, you create space for both you and the people in your life that care about you to co-author a new, more fulfilling narrative and connection. Now, this 7th house is likely to bring the opportunity for new relationships, or if you're already in a relationship, it's likely to bring opportunities to deepen those connections, and an opportunity, if you're in a romantic relationship, for you to really see if that relationship is the one for you. Now, the 7th house also is likely to bring some financial opportunities your way, which I'm sure is great news given the state of the world right now. So overall, Aquarius, this full moon in Leo is a time to remember that you're not bound by any pre-written script. You're free to dream. Let this full moon remind you that relationships can be a canvas for mutual exploration, for mutual creativity and genuine connection. Maintain this perspective and this awareness as we end the astrological year with Pisces season, and you will find yourself in an empowered flow as we begin the astrological year when Aries season comes along. So embrace this energetic opening, and happy full moon, Aquarius. Okay, my powerful Pisces, this full moon energy is going to be in your 6th house. And with the theme of this full moon being life is but a dream, you more than any other sign will resonate with this challenge that I'm giving each sign, Pisces, which is use this full moon in Leo as an opportunity to shift your perception to one that will empower you in the way that you will create a major momentum of manifesting as we head into the end of the year, as we head into your season. And the way to do this is by embracing this concept. In the same way that when we are dreaming and we realize that we're dreaming while we're within that dream, it is at that moment that we have that realization that we become the observer. And when we become the observer, we can then also begin to decide where the dream goes next. This is called lucid dreaming, and it does take some practice, but it is absolutely possible. Well, we can also do this in our everyday lives, and this full moon in Leo is the opening showing us that if we embrace this perspective that life is a dream, and we can awaken within this dream by becoming the observer of our own life, that's when we begin to truly co-create with the universe. And because this full moon is transiting your 6th house, this is your moment to really break free from the matrix of monotonous routines and limiting self-beliefs about work, about health, or just your everyday tasks. If you imagine life as a dream, one where you actively shape your daily habits instead of feeling trapped by them, viewing your schedule, your wellness goals, and your to-do list as part of a flexible, ever-evolving storyline that helps you recognize that you're not a prisoner of routine, but rather the creator of how you experience life. And the way to put this into action, Pisces, is reinvent your routine and ask yourself, if this were a dream, this thing called life that we're living, How could you make your daily tasks feel more joyful, more creative, more self-loving? Maybe by adding small playful elements like a favorite song, a gratitude pause, or a mindful walk to freshen up your schedule and to freshen up your energy. Especially with all of this drama going on in the world right now, this will be such an important step to take to elevate the energy of your life. This sixth house also deals with health and wellness. And if you've been ignoring this area of your life in any way, you can definitely expect an illness to potentially manifest. But just know that if it does, it's manifesting to give you the opportunity to slow down and pay more attention to your health. Now, the way that you can take better care of your health is by taking a moment to reflect on your mental and your physical well-being. Instead of viewing health as a strict set of rules, set it as a nurturing dreamscape. Choose activities like yoga, journaling, cooking healthy meals, these things that align with your unique rhythms and promote genuine self-care. And here's a magic tip, Pisces. The sixth house also covers ways to serve others, whether through work or daily interactions. By being more compassionate and more generous with your time and attention, by doing more acts of service, you actually expand your capacity to manifest and to receive. Imagine weaving creativity and compassion into every task, elevating even the simplest chores into opportunities to express love and presence. By stepping into this full moon energy with the understanding that you shape your reality, much like an artist that's painting a dreamscape, you will find your everyday life can be a source of inspiration rather than the nightmare that being caught up in the matrix can actually be. Now, this is your chance to reorganize your world in a way that supports both your spiritual depth and your practical needs, Pisces. Let this be the moment that you awaken to just how magical your day-to-day life can truly be. So embrace this energetic opening and happy full moon, Pisces. Okay, so there you have it. The top 3 things you need to know about this full moon in Leo, along with some insight into how your sign can make the most of this full moon energy. I hope you all enjoyed this information. If you did, please don't forget the baby tap. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and hang out with me. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.